right, folks, welcome back to Morphy's Games of Chess. We got game number 31 coming up. The Morphy Lowenthal match continues with the 12th match game, held on August 14th, 1858. Okay, Morphy has the white pieces. He plays e4. Lowenthal with the French defense again. We've seen this in game number 29. It's worth mentioning again, folks, just so you know. Normally, modern masters and grandmasters, the opening theory has the knight. You know, you bring out the knight first, commonly played, and the whole trick to Black's, his defense here, the French defense being very solid, played at the highest levels of chess. The only little disadvantage that Black has to deal with is how does this light square bishop get in the game? See, the e-pawn is blocking him in. See that? So that's the little question that Black has to figure out. A little disadvantage. Is it enough for White to win? Well, that's the whole mystery, right? That's the whole beauty of this game. The player's got to play it out, and that's usually how White approaches it. Tries to build off of that disadvantage that Black saddles himself with. But who knows, right? Now here you got Morphy once again, just like in game 29, trading the pawns, and now you see that light square bishop has no problem. And Black has a pawn equal to White's, right? They both have a stake in the center, a claim to the center with their D pawns, right? It's like mano y mano, right? It's equal. And that's by move 3. Now this is all according to the modern theory and today's chess, right? Back in the day it wasn't that developed. And tell you the truth, folks, if you're watching these games, I'm figuring you're under 2,000, or maybe you're close to it even. Okay, so if you're playing someone under 2,000, you don't have to play the theoretical best moves in the opening, especially the opening, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You got to play your game. You got to play your whole middle game. And if you're booked up on all this openings, it doesn't really get you anywhere. Combinations and tactics are far more important to those under 2,000, okay, than opening theory. So here you go. You got Morphy back in the day. The opening theory wasn't nowhere like the craziness it's developed now 150 years later, right? And you got Morphy. It's his tactics and his combinations. That's his strength, right? So this is an open game. He's playing his game. You get it? He's playing the way his strengths. And that's what you want to do when you're playing your opponents. If they're under 2,000 and you've been doing your tactical puzzles and stuff, you've been looking at these games of Morphy, you're getting all these ideas. Forget it. They ain't going to stand a chance against you. All right? So that's how it falls. Once you get to about 2,000 and up, then you start looking at some opening theory. Okay? But up until then, it's not really important, right? So anyway, here's Morphy, right? Playing into his strengths, into his wheelhouse, as they say, right? So now, you got, just like in the game number 29, Morphy brings out his knight, Lowenthal copies. Morphy brings out his bishop. Game 29, Lowenthal copied. But here he is, he brings out the queen bishop. He lost the last game, so I guess he figures, all right, I got to deviate somehow, right? So there he goes. He brings the light square bishop to e6. Okay, now you got Morphy castling. Okay, now Lowenthal brings the other guy out. He brings him to d6. Okay, fair enough. Now look at Morphy bringing the other. Get those pieces out. All right, here we go. Lowenthal supporting his d5 pawn. Okay, with pawn to c6. All right, now Morphy, look at this. Knight. He moves the same piece twice, but look at this. Knight to e5. Posts him in enemy territory already. Okay, so now anyway, it says a little note here. The critics differ as for the merits of this move. Morphy is preparing for a favorite maneuver, which is pawn to, just throwing a silly move over here. He's planning this, folks. Pawn to f4. And you'll see how this plays out, okay? He's going to really support that knight up there on e5. He controls that square. You'll see what happens. Here we go. Lowenthal brings the queen to b6, attacking the d4 pawn. Morphy brings out his bishop. He develops his bishop, right? Develop those pieces. Supporting the d pawn, important, crucial pawn. And playing over many French games, usually that's like white's Achilles heel. Black tends to pick at that d4 pawn. Usually could bring the queen to b6. He'll play c5 usually in one move, not c6 and then c5. Usually c5 is played, and the queen knight comes to c6, all piling up on that d square, the d pawn. Okay, they're just like you aim all your forces against it. That's usually the theme. But anyway, okay, here we go. 150 something years ago. We got a 1858, right? Here's Lowenthal attacking the d pawn. All right, now Morphy bringing the bishop out. You're probably wondering, well, can he grab this, folks? All right, now you're going to see some lines where the queen. I'm going to show it down the road here, right? But it really, if anything, you put the engine on. Let's see what Shredder wants to do. All right, you got to protect your knight, right? All right, you protect your knight. All right, and he wants to get out of dodge. Why? Because let's just say you go here, right? You're going to lose your own b pawn. So you're really gaining anything? I mean, all right. So it could go a million ways from here, right? But you'll see a question in chess in many different openings. There's always this question: can you grab the b pawn? It's on the queen side. You're going to move the queen. You're going to capture it with your queen. So you're moving your queen multiple times. You don't want to lose your queen. So the enemy could attack your queen and shuffle his pieces into good positions, attacking the queen. Next thing you know, you're under the attack because you had to move your queen all around just for a measly b pawn. They call it a poison pawn variation. Can black get away with taking it, like in this scenario? Who knows, folks? 1 month it goes that he can, and another couple of months later, another super GM proves that you can't. Then you can. It depends which super GM or champion is proven, what, the side. It's flip-flops. But for now, Lowenthal does not grab the b pawn. Okay, he does not grab that b pawn. I guess his instincts tell him better to develop a piece, right, folks? And now you got two on that knight. You got the bishop and the d7 knight. So look at this, Morphy, like he planned, right? Morphy lending support to that knight on e5 with f4. And Lowenthal chops him off anyway with the bishop. Here we go. Look at this. Pawn takes back, folks. And now Morphy opens up the f-file for his king rook. See that? All right, so this could get dangerous down the f-file. All right, now that knight on f6 is hanging too, right? And notice the other knight on d7 is blocking him out. So he really doesn't have many options here. What he does is he swings the knight to g4, the only safe square. Now, here we got a little side note, which is very interesting. Very, very cute. Look at this. They give here in the notes. Watch this. The old masters, folks, dishing it out. They looked at this. What about knight takes pawn? Look at this, right? Because if you take here, boom, you get hit with queen takes with check. Look at that, huh? Can you even take back that pawn too? You win that pawn? All right, no. They go with the knight move. Go with the knight move. All right, so anyway, let's just see what happens if you take like this. All right, you attack that guy. He moves. Who knows? It's probably playable. It's playable. I guess it's playable. You can do this. They're dancing now, folks. They're just dancing around. All right, so anyway, I guess this is just stronger. It's just a strong. He's threatening this move. He's threatening knight f2, right? Winning the exchange. For instance, you ignore it. You fall asleep for some reason, right? You don't know what's going on. All right, look at this. He actually goes for the pawn with the queen, threatening mate on h2 then. See, take this. All right, okay. I thought he might have been threatening this, right? You're threatening to win the queen, right? You're forking the king and queen. So you end up winning the exchange as a result. All right, so you win that way. That's what I was seeing. But I guess it liked to take here better. Threatening mate. Okay, you force him to play g3, which really weakens the light squares around the white king here. And look at this, he hits there. You know what he's doing now, right, folks? D4, if the light squares are weak, you know which character wants to get into that fight, right? This guy over here, just to move this guy wants to get in the fight, right? Down this diagonal, that would be deadly. So, okay, here comes the knight. The knight's hit, right? You're threatening the knight on C3 with that pawn push. All right, he jumps here, blocking that diagonal. Oh, look, it goes from bad to worse. Now you are going to win the exchange. Isn't that something? He doesn't take it. You know, folks, I'm getting sucked in, right? But obviously you see this. It really looks like, all right, he's trying to counter down the F-file, but there's nothing there. Oh, and look at this. You play, look, you could win the exchange, obviously, right? But you go after this guy. Because remember that bishop wants to go to D5, folks. You hit the knight. Where's it going to go, right? You hit that knight. Let's say the knight moves, right? The knight moves. All right, you see who's coming into the picture now, and look at devastation. Now the queen is pinned to the king on the light diagonal. You see, all created by forcing white to play G3. See that? And weakening his light squares. Playing right into black. He has the light square bishop still, and he puts it to good use. You see how it works? All right. So, I mean, we're going from here. The check means nothing. The queen check means nothing. You just play G6. Right now, the queen's hanging, the knight's hanging. All right, so we see how it could fall apart, right? Very, very interesting. All right, love this game, huh? So that all stemmed from the crucial mistake of, you know, you take here and you open it up. Black takes over the game. One mistake is all it takes, folks, in the game of chess, huh? One mistake. See that? You had a good game going and you blew it. All right, so you take here, right? Now look at this. They want to hit the queen. Since it all relies on the queen taking the bishop with check, get that queen off that diagonal. You throw the knight over here, right? Attacking the queen. All right, now I'm going to give you the line that the masters pick. I see Shredder wants to go back here, but look, this is what they say. The old masters gave this line. Queen to A5 attacking the knight on A4. All right, so you take your knight over here. All right, he hops up. He decides to go here. He doesn't take the knight. You don't want to lose two knights, right? You don't want to lose two knights. Now you're down a piece, right? White's got two bishops against the one bishop. All right. So what does he do? He hops the knight over here. That's his move. And then the queen, get this, comes here. This is, all right, Shredder wants to play there. Look, comes here. Okay, so if he trades like Shredder wants to, you take back with the piece that the knight wanted to grab. See that? You pull back. There you go. All right, so he wins the pawn, but look, you're up a piece, folks. Look at, watch this too. I like this line. Shredder goes. Last time Shredder took here, but all right. You're up a piece for what? For 2 pawns? Okay. He wants the castle. But anyway, okay. There it is, right? See, if he goes here, this is what they did last time. He took here. Now he can't move his knight, try to keep the knights on, because for one, he has nowhere to go actually. He could take here, but then you lose this. Look, you lose the exchange. So it really goes from bad to worse. So I guess this is the best move at this point. But White's up. They give it an evaluation of +2.5 pawns, right? So it's a substantial lead. You can call it. I think you can make that a win. But now here's the line that makes you laugh. He takes the knight, right? And sure enough, Shredder found it. Look, the rook comes up here. Where's that queen going, folks? Where's that queen going? Nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide, right? You got to give it up. And there you go. Black's busted, okay? He's got he's down rook versus queen, right? And then you got what do you got? A pawn. Okay. Black has one extra pawn. But White has a queen for a rook. Who do you think's doing better there? Plus he's got the bishop pair too, if that means anything to you. All right. So here we go, right? that's a nice line the old masters found. So they say this doesn't really work. It turns out to be better after the knight chases the queen. Okay? Given the line here. I don't know. This Shredder, I don't know. What did Shredder find here? All right, you pin that guy first. Pin him. All right, you go there. Take with the pawn. All right, so there you're down a piece again, right? However it works. I guess at this stage, right? White ends up about the same thing. Actually, he's a little better. He's almost up 3 pawns. Almost. Plus 2.93. All right, 2.71. See, over here, folks, let me borrow this pawn. Go look to the right. Look to the right. See, evaluation, EVAL, plus 2, right? Plus 2.5. So it's almost the same exact thing. It's just that the queens are on the board still. All right. All right, so anyway. Okay, so now that doesn't work. The knight sack doesn't work on E5. All right, so we got this move. We got Lowenthal throwing the knight on G4. Okay, queen comes up to protect this guy. And sure enough, Lowenthal takes the bishop pair away from Morphy. Okay, good move, I guess, right? You trade that knight off for the bishop. But here we go. Now we got the queen taking the B pawn, just like Shredder wants to go in for it, right? And here we got the knight coming back. Look at this, knight coming back, right? Knight coming back. Now let's just look at the threat. What's going on here? What's going on? Let's just do, I don't know, an insignificant move, right? So now you'll see what happens if I put the engine back on. Look, you go for him. Now if he goes here, what if he just takes this pawn, right? Well, now you've really done it. Now you've really done it because the 2 rooks come over to combine. There's nowhere to go for the black queen, right? She can't go anywhere. You lose queen for a rook. All right, you got 2 pawns, the A and B pawn, big deal, right? All right, so that's what could happen to you. Now look at this. You go here, all right, you gain the B pawn, right? But now you lost the B pawn. And where's he going? Where are you going, tough guy, right? I mean, you got a rook down on the 7th. Where's white going to castle? I mean, where's black going to go? Is he going to castle this way? I don't think so. Double those rooks, right? You could double them rooks. Maybe you go after him first. I don't know. He moves. All right, whatever, right? You double. I mean, you got so many options. I mean, I think the game plays itself for white. If you've been studying your tactics and you have more time than what we have here, you'd be sitting plenty of ideas, right? You will love that open. You love the open files. You can put your rooks, double your rooks on the B file if he castles over there. If he castles this way, well, now look at that. You just lost the queen, folks. You see it? You see that? Did you see that one sitting, lurking in the weeds, right? Those bishops on the long diagonal, folks. Look. King takes, right? Check move, see? And you win this guy. So there you go, folks. Game over in that variation. But I mean, this is it's a problem now. So see what happens when you grab the B pawn. You're really dealing with fire. You know, you're playing with fire, as they say. You're playing with fire, and white wins your B pawn. So it doesn't even make sense, really. You're just wasting time with the queen. Okay, but anyway, okay, watch this. So now, after Lowenthal goes in, the knight comes back to E2. All right, Lowenthal plays the queen to A3, and now the knight comes up. All right, the knight comes up to F4. So now Morphy, see, while Lowenthal's grabbing that B pawn with the queen, Morphy's basically maneuvering his knight closer to the attack. You know, he's getting it up there to influence the black position. And now he's got an open B file. He's got an open F file. The knight could maybe take the bishop. Look at this threat. Maybe you don't see it. Look. I'll just throw insignificant move. You take this guy, right? Now what happens? Now, Can black recapture, folks, after you learn what you learned in that other variation? Look at this. Plays out, folks. You get the light square, bishop check again. It works. You win the queen on a3 all the same. Game over, right? Game over. Okay, you see it? Watch again. Watch again. You play I got to throw in the measly move a6 just to show you the threat. Just to show you what's going on. All right, there's the threat. Morphy's move created this threat. Knight takes bishop. The f pawn takes back, and you get the light square bishop check. See this? Replay, right? Beautiful. All because Lowenthal went in grabbing that b pawn there. Falling behind in development. See? All right, so anyway, what if he castles? Again, folks, let's take, all right, I threw in a6. Do you understand if he castles, you still lose? Look, it's just like in the other one, right? You lose the queen on a3. You see how, I mean, you're playing someone under 2,000, right? Weekend warrior, you know, you're playing your little tournament at the chess club. How many, you got your opponent sitting there and he's going, well, I better castle. Let me get to safety, right? And you don't, I mean, how easy is this to miss, right? By those amateurs, the lower rated players you're going to be playing, right? There you go, right? Game over. Okay. So anyway, all right, Shredder's saying to go this way. All right, now we have our open B file we could attack down the open B file, right? That black gave us. He just created it, wasting time with his queen. All right, so anyway, here we go. Knight to f4. What does Lowenthal do? Well, what he does is he tries to protect against losing his queen and the bishop over here, so he takes care of both threats by pulling the queen back to e7, right? Now he won't lose the queen. Now the knight won't take. The bishop doesn't cause any problems, or does it, right? Who knows? Let's see what happens. Look, we got move number 15, huh? All this action, and it's only 15 moves so far. Okay, so now we got, all right, queen rook to b1. Grabbing the open file, attacking that b7 pawn. All right, and look at this. How does he protect it? Lowenthal castles long. Protect it with your king. All right, let's see what happens now. Bishop pulls back to e2. Getting ready to swing the queen on the third rank. Swing it over. All right, Lowenthal with the knight. Here comes Morphy with the queen. Now he's attacking down that down the b file. Right? Strong power on the b file for Morphy. All right, now look at this. Here comes Lowenthal. Now they give this a question mark. But surprisingly, Shredder does that too. Shredder ended up liking that move. He ended up liking that. See that? He likes that rook to d7. I don't know what I just said. If I said, what did I say? Rook to b2 or something? All right, anyway. Rook to d7. I correct myself. Okay? And watch what happens now. So he moved. They give him a question mark, but I don't know. Maybe that's a good move. Shredder seemed to like it. And here comes the knight maneuvers. Look at this. The knight comes now. Now that the king's over there, here we go. Let's bring the soldier over to that side. Knight to d3. Here comes Lowenthal's knight. Threatening a fork on d2, folks. And Morphy disregards it. Look at this. Knight to c5. Now look, we got, black has the b7 pawn covered, right? He's got the rook and queen on it. I mean, now it's really getting crazy. It's getting crazy here because Lowenthal has this, right? Attacking the both rooks and the queen, forking them all, right? But yet he's leaving his rook to attack, right? So now let's get into it. Here's what Lowenthal does, right? He moves the rook over. Okay, rook over to c7, getting out of the knight's attack, and I guess he's figuring then he'll follow with his knight fork on d2, right? But let's go in. This is what the old masters came up with. This is what they said was obvious. This is the thing Lowenthal should have done. The obvious knight to d2, right, was much better. after the queen moves, right? Because although he's on the rook, Lowenthal's on Morphy's queen over here. So, okay, they give queen to a4, right? Now, it doesn't matter. Like, if he takes, let's see, if he's like, Morphy's coming down to take on a2. For instance, if he take, let's say he takes this one, doesn't matter which rook he takes. Now he's going to come down. And the threat is this queen to a8 mate. See? Let's even throw Shredder in here. What's he going to do? What can he do? Right? Let's see. All right, he's got the c7 square still. Go to the analysis. Start analysis. Here we go. All right, he's going to run. Right? He's going to run. He's going to try to get out of it, I guess. Let's see. I think I remember. Yeah, this was the move, right? The queen has to get off this diagonal. Let's see. We'll go with this one for now. All right, they want to take. If you do it too soon, you can do this. You check him, right? Then you can, if he comes up, when he comes up, you check him there. Then he goes back. All right, look, let's do it. Just do it. Instead of me talking, yapping away. Look, you just do this. Right now he gets there. All right, you win this one, right? Like that. But now the knight crawls out of there, right? Now the knight crawls out. But let's do this. Let's see. Is he still winning? White's still winning, right? He's winning at that point. But look, this is a stronger move. You take back, all right? And now you're threatening everything, but it'll actually be mate. Because just to throw in there, now White's threatening this, right? There you go. Game over. See? He uses the rook on the b file now. All right, so what does he do? So after this, you take, right, all right, he tries to launch this one up. I guess he's going to end up, let's see. He's down. So, I mean, at this point, White's clearly winning, right? He's clearly winning. Yeah, open it up, right? Open it up. I was thinking of that a4 move. Okay, here he comes. Let's see. Can he win the bishop? I guess he doesn't have time to take it. Let's see if he does this. This looks like interesting. He goes there. Tries to go there. You take the checks away. Tries to go in. He tries to go here, there. I guess he's trying to survive. Look, he's down big time. He's under the gun. There's probably better moves for White and for Black, but this is the threat. The idea is once he comes in, folks, right? After this, Rook takes him, forget it. He's busted. Why not, he's going to lose this bishop the way it is right now, right? With the queen check on e3. So, all right, but he's up. Look, he's up. It says 11, right? Plus 11. All right, so you could easily see that after this, taking a rook does not pay off, right? Does not pay off. So, they give this. They give king over like Shredder just found, right? All right, so they give king over. And now look at this. Bishop to a6. All right? If queen takes bishop pawn, right? It is met by knight takes queen rook. Rook takes knight, because now your queen's hanging over there on c6 without the rook. The rook's got to pin that b pawn, or you lose your queen, right? So the rook takes back. All right, king over, and there they just have it. Black survives the attack, and I played Shredder, and there really is, I couldn't crack through, folks. I couldn't crack through. Now, you can't even grab the exchange because your queen's hanging now. Now that the king moved to a1, the b7 pawn is not pinned. So, So Black survives this. And if you realize he's up the exchange, and he's up in a pawn. So the end game looks good for Black now that the dust is starting to settle on the attack. All right, so that's a sideline, right? Queen taken there. They say bishop over here is better for white, but Black still comes out on top after the knight takes. All right, now your bishop over there on a6 is hanging because the b pawn isn't pinned, but okay, you recapture. And it says the position is not in white's favor, as a note in Max Lang's, it says in Max Lang's notes, seems to suggest Black can continue, right, pawn up, queen takes bishop pawn, okay, rook here. All right, now look at this, Zach. You're going for it all. You're going all the way. You got to get, I mean, you're down by so much now, right, folks? You're going all in. Look at this. Rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes, check. You're going for mate, folks, but it's not there. It's not there. Bishop tries to pull back to go here, right? To go here, maybe get something. But, all right, Shredder finds this move, but the old masters came up with this. Bishop here. So they say Black wins. You get a check. He goes here. Who knows? Who knows? So you get the check there. All right. You can't even grab the exchange because you basically will have no men left to get checkmate. So really, it doesn't work out, folks. That's it. I mean, what are you're gonna pull back here to go over here? What does it even matter, right? Well, he's out. I don't see anything. Black survives that. So that's what the old masters give here. Now, there is one other little point to this. The notes end on this, right? After Morphy's knight to c5. Possibly, it says possibly Black feared after knight to d2. Queen up. And then with king over, right? Instead of bringing the bishop here, like with that attack, right? They say that if he just took the knight. See that? If he takes the knight with check and Black takes back, they say it could have led to a long endgame struggle. Okay, a long endgame struggle. So maybe he was just avoiding that. He didn't want to have this long struggle. But anyway, okay, watch what happens. It's not going to be a long struggle, folks, because the game's going to just totally crash and burn now. So he plays the rook over, right? He plays the rook over. And Morphy plays his queen to a4. Okay, now Morphy points out he should have taken the knight first. This would have been better. Okay? And then played it. Then played the queen to a4. But let's just go with what he did. He played the queen to a4. And now look at this. You got the pawn push up, right? Okay, very interesting. Here goes the bishop, chops off the knight. Now, okay, now what happens if he takes the bishop, folks? What happens if he takes the bishop? Do you see what's coming? Look at this. Rook takes. Rook takes pawn. And then you got pawn takes, queen down with mate. Did you see that one? Because the rook now on c7 takes away the escape square. He can't go anywhere. The black king. Look at the knight. The knight that's threatened by that b pawn. It's just too late though, folks. White slips the dagger in before he could escape. Look at this. The knight takes away b7 and d7. Forget about it. What a combination there, huh? Mating pattern. There's a good one to see. Look at that. He's got a rook on f8, f1. White's got the rook over there. He doesn't even need to slide it into the attack. The queen and knight take care of business here. Put an end to the black monarch, all right? So, what we have is, after the bishop takes, he can't take the bishop. He's got to take he takes the knight. All right? So, now we got the bishop going to work, right? You didn't take him and put him in the box. So now he's got a second life, right? He comes into the attack now. Bishop to a6 with check. Okay, the king comes up, right? He comes up. He's trying to shelter behind the rook. Okay, now look at this. Now they're teaming up on c6. Bishop and queen, right? Now, if you haven't noticed, if here we got the queen. Here's Lowenthal's move, right? Here's Lowenthal's move. The idea being, if he takes, he can take here. Yes, he has the rook, but then you got this guy jumping in. And you see that? He can't, now that the rook on c6 is pinned, where's he going to go, folks? All right, he goes there. All right, fine. We take with check, right? We take this guy first with check. All right, he's got to take back. Then we gobble up the other guy. And there we go. Look at this. We got a rook. We got a rook for the bishop, and we got our queen for the black rook. No contest. Game over, right? All right, so here we go. So after Lowenthal's rook to d8, well, like we just showed, there you go, boom. And it's all over, right? And now there is a sideline. There is a sideline. After this, Lowenthal resigned. That's it, okay? He didn't bother going in. We'll show it again because it's so pretty. Now, if he goes this way, folks, good night, Irene, right? Good night. There's another little mating pattern for you. See that? Common one, rook and queen. Okay. So he goes this way. You take him, right? You make sure you get him off the board, her off the board, whatever you want to say, and then you take back, and you're closer to the end game with no problem. No problemo, right? Because if you go this way, what does he do? What does he do? He blocks. He's still got the queen on the board. He's still losing, but you know, why even let him fight, you know? It looks dire, but still, you know, why even give him the chance, folks? Look how much easier this is, right? You take with check, and then you take that guy, right? What's he gonna mount up with a rook and a bishop, right? He's behind the 8 ball here. He doesn't have the weapon, he doesn't have the soldiers, right? The armory, whatever I'm trying to say. The weapons, right? He's outgunned. That's all I'm trying to say. I couldn't find it. He's outgunned, folks. Queen to rook and rook to bishop. Forget it. He's outgunned. There you go. But now there is one other line which is funny here. Let's see. So after this, and they're saying instead of the rook over to d8, they're saying perhaps like Shredder's finding. What about the queen move? They're saying, now here's what they give. They say queen here, okay, queen to g5, just to give another escape square. But then after pawn takes check, all right, king over, they gave that as being better for black. They say that's better for black. Look at this. You go after the rook, right? And now if he takes, let's see. We take, all right, we take here. Let's see. Let's make sure now. I mean, you could bring your rook down with a b7 to b7 check, right? All right, but you go, okay, you go there. All right, he can't go anywhere but to the back rank. And then, okay, there you go. Look at this poor guy. Look at him. You take there. He takes, oh boy. You come across, remember folks, the F file, Open F-file, remember? When the bishop took knight, F4 takes bishop. Remember, opening that F-file. There it is. Look, it's coming into play now. It's in the notes, folks, but it was, you know, it was key. It was influential, right? All right, so he takes. All right, what are we doing? It's all over, folks. It's all over, right? Do we have to see any more? All right, so he's down a bishop. He's got all these pawns, though. Let's see what he does. Let's see how you do it, right? You don't want to give him any breathing room. Don't want him get his forces to defend in any way. Just check him to death. Look at this. Really putting him. All right, so now you're setting up a mate, right? He's in a mating net now. With the bishop on d7 and the queen taking all the escape squares. You see that? Rook to b8 is threatened. That would be checkmate. Or, well, okay, then he moved back. He moved the bishop back. For instance, you go there, look, you come down. All right, he's got to move the bishop back, but then you win it, right? You win the bishop, and it would be game over. So, he brings the bishop back now. It's over. Threatening the bishop. The queen comes down. Just showing the technique here. What are we going to do, right? We got all these pawns for the bishop. So even in endgame. But we're going for mate. We got to go for mate here. Attack the rook. Surprised these pawns haven't come into play yet. I don't know. This is probably better, folks, right? Look at the engine, all the different moves. Queen's going to take. Let's see how he wins this. Look. Notice the king's got. All right, he comes out. Look at this. All right, you take. Wow, look at this. You go into it, folks. How about it? Would you do this? Would you go into it? You put all the pawns on the. I don't know, folks. Can black hold this? Now I'm interested. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know. Can the black bishop handle all these pawns? I don't think so. He's got to babysit this guy. And this is fast. I know there's probably better moves, right? But we bring our king up. We're going to escort. Maybe we'll escort that pawn. And he'll have to give the bishop up for it, right? Look at the pawns control a lot of these squares around the black king. Okay, we push here. If he takes this one, the D pawn goes in. Because there's no way the bishop could stop it, right? Or the king. There you go. You go in and you win. But he doesn't take, so he's... Yeah, the bishop can't handle all these pawns the way they are. Yeah, it's over. He'll have to give it up. If he goes here, we just close him in. It's going to be checkmate, folks. Right? What does he do? He's got no moves. Look at this. He's got no moves. Even if he goes here, takes this guy. There you go. Checkmate. All right. I know that was crazy at the end, but it's interesting. All right. I like showing those things. I even was questioning it myself. Can white beat the bishop with all these pawns? Well, there you go. There's one little line. I know we didn't let it go long, but up at this point, let's see. Where were we? A lot of maneuvering, a lot of extra nonsense here, but after this, right, take with check, the king up. If he takes the rook, right? I mean, the rook takes bishop. We went in with the pawn. We grabbed the pawn, check, king back. We go here. He blocks. When we take here and he takes, we have to take with the queen. All right. Interesting, right, folks? All right. Never a dull moment, I guess, in a Morphy game, right? All right. I hope you like this episode. We got a little bonus at the end there going into it, asking those little questions. All right. Fine enough. You could explore it with your own engine in more detail. But basically, we had a nice game by Morphy. Nice attack down the B file. We saw the dangers of grabbing that B pawn, poison pawn, or not, depending on, you'll hear it over and over. Can the queen grab the B pawn? It happens in so many openings. All right, there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll stay tuned next time for Morphy's Games of Chess. We got game number 32 coming up. This match continues, Morphy versus Lowenthal. All right, we'll see you then. Have a good night.